Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com, and all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Welcome into the opening line report. Drew Martin, Teddy Covers, breaking it down each and every Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. We got NFL futures look. Guys, we got a number of topics from this past week. We're going to hit on NFL, NBA All-Star games. We got DraftKings spending over $600 million in the fourth quarter of 2021 alone, among others, college basketball, USFL, Juwan Howard. But without further ado, my co-host here, Teddy Covers. Teddy, welcome in. How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. I had friends in town this weekend, so I was out and about a little bit more than usual, perhaps. So yeah, it feels like a Monday morning. You know, went out Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, and Monday you're like, okay, here we go. I'll get a nap in this afternoon.
But Teddy, you're not a huge drinker just from hanging out with you a bunch.
No.
Were you letting it flow this weekend?
No, I didn't drink. I don't drink.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
Okay.
I you know, I shouldn't say I don't ever. I mean, I might like once a year. You might catch me on a night where something's flowing, but most time I'm gonna have a drink. I'll have one beer and then I just don't want another one. You know, or I'll have a Captain and Coke, and I just it just doesn't work for me. My intoxicant of choice tends to be the herbal variety as opposed to the grain variety. But nonetheless, when you're going out and about in town, you know, look, I don't need to drink my ass off to go out and have fun with some good friends. And I had friends in town this last weekend that I have, guys that I've known from Michigan from the 80s. So it's really, I can go out and have fun without staying up all night and drinking, which was kind of the weekend.
Yeah, and in this industry, that is a good thing. I mean, if you're going to pick a vice, it's definitely better to go the herbal route than the heavy alcohol drinking because it's just hard to keep up.
And the other thing is that the one of the biggest differences that I've seen, okay, when you drink, if you're not a drinker, the next morning you can't wake up and function. And
Right.
if you smoke and you're not a smoker, the next morning you can function. And I think that, at least for me, that's a huge difference. You know, you wake up, all right, hey guys, I love you guys, whatever, and you go to sleep and you wake up and you're not, oh, I'm in bed and go, puking and all that kind of stuff the next morning and feeling all hungover. The lack of a hangover is a big difference, at least in this business for me. Huge difference because I'm up, I'm at my desk 7 a.m. 7 days a week. No variance, no exceptions. I get mad at myself when I sleep to 7:15 and I don't get upstairs. So I don't ever want that. I don't like those mornings where you're not feeling right. So I don't have, and that to me, this is, drinking gives me the mornings where you're not feeling right. And I don't, that's not when I do my best work.
Okay. Well, Teddy, I got more on that when we talk about Vegas. But guys, at the top, we like to talk a little bit. Of course, this is normally the NFL opening line report. Of course, it's the off season now. So we're bringing in college basketball, other betting. Actually, the USFL is one of the things we're going to be talking about here. The new football league in just a couple minutes. But Teddy, right off the top, we do like to talk about the NFL kind of here in the beginning of the show and some long shots, futures wise. We talked about it last week in terms of, if you're going to lock up money for a while, you don't want to be locking it up on, one of the top teams here where you're just going to kind of get a little bit of a payback. You want that big bang for your buck team. Have you found one? Have you found a couple that you've circled here for a future wager in the NFL?
So there's something that has definitively happened in the NFL betting marketplace in my time in Vegas that is different now than it once was. And we've seen it. It started with the Rams, the 99 Rams, the Rams that cashed the 200-1 Super Bowl ticket.
Okay.
And it's continued on and it's gone in that direction. When we think about when Man City won the Premier League in Britain at 5,000-1, when the long shots hit, the odds makers adjust. And one thing they've realized, it doesn't matter if you price them 500 to 1 or 100 to 1. You're still going to get the same action. Doesn't matter if you're pricing them 100 to 1 or 50 to 1. You're still going to get the same action. So what we've seen is the 200 to 1 shots, they're not there anymore. The 100 to 1 shots, not many. And the bigger payouts have legitimately declined over the course of my 25 years in Las Vegas. So when we look at the long shots, again, for the Super Bowl next year, say any team at 50 to 1 or higher, okay?
Right.
You're not getting a whole lot of quality squads in this long shot range. You know, we're looking at the Falcons, the Commanders, the Steelers, the Bears, the Panthers, the Giants, the Jaguars, the Lions, the Texans, and the Jets. Are any of those teams capable of making a run from bottom feeder to legit contender in the Super Bowl next year? Jets have a lot of holes. Texans have a lot of holes. Lions have no QB. Jaguars have a lot of holes. I'm throwing out the bottom 4. I'm going to throw out Carolina, a team with no quarterback. All right, not a team I'm putting future money on right here, unless we get wind that the Panthers are just about to get a QB. Which leaves us with the Falcons, the Commanders, the Steelers, the Bears, and the Giants. There's worse bets than any of those teams to win the Super Bowl next year. I don't think the Bears are close, okay? The Giants are going back with Daniel Jones again. We can probably throw those 2 out, all right? Pittsburgh has pieces in place. They're a quarterback away. Washington has some pieces in place. They're a quarterback away. Atlanta's got the QB. They've got some interesting pieces, but at no point this season did you look at the Falcons and say, yeah, they're the squad. So do I want to make a bet on Pittsburgh now or Chicago now? Not necessarily, simply because the odds you're seeing for those teams, particularly the Bears, you're going to see those same odds 3 months from now, 6 months from now. Chicago's not making a QB change. If you want the Steelers, you might want to do that sooner rather than later, because if Pittsburgh picks up a quarterback, which is possible, those odds are going to drop like a rock. Chicago's not picking up a QB. Those odds are going to stay in that same range. That said, one thing you want to do with all of these long shots, okay, be sure to take a look at the salary cap figures. That stands out like a sore thumb as something to pay attention to. And Pittsburgh is not a team with a whole lot of room under the cap, which means the Steelers are likely to look pretty similar next year to what they looked like this year. When you find a team like the Jets or the Jaguars or the Texans that have, the Texans actually don't have as much cap room as you think, but the Jets and the Jags that have a lot of cap space, you can take flyers with those teams in a way that you can't on teams that don't have the cap space and aren't going to be able to make the moves. Now, I'm not looking at the Jets and the Jaguars as teams I want to take flyers on right now. But one thing that is worth doing, if you're going to get involved with this future book in the NFL at this stage of the campaign, spend some time looking at the salary cap issues for teams and get your money on teams with room to spend. Keep your money away from teams that have no room to spend and therefore won't be getting better via free agency and therefore won't be attracting the betting market attention. We told us these are teams you can bet in August instead of betting them in February.
I like it.
That
Great
sense,
breakdown there. Yeah. On NFL futures, absolutely, Teddy. I was picking up a lot of what you were laying down. It looks like the chat box, everybody joining us. Having Cash in the house, Jimmy, Mike Campbell, Brent Hall as well. Mike Campbell actually has a question. You bring up the Washington. Well, first off, it sounds like they've officially changed their name here from the football team. Okay.
Yeah. They're the Commanders moving forward until the next name change when they realize that none of the Commanders merchandise is selling and everyone hates the name.
Yeah, I was going to say that it doesn't really flow off the tongue very well. The Washington Commanders, I guess it is, but hey, we'll see how that goes.
It's the name has dropped like a lead balloon. It just I haven't seen one person. Yeah, I love the Commander's name. It just didn't take.
No.
But I've heard no different from the Guardians in Cleveland. It's not like it's difficult to change the franchise, the team name, and have people like it. There aren't that many good names.
Yeah, and running out of him a little bit. But he does ask the question here, Mike Campbell, or excuse me, Jimmy's asking the question, what odds would you need to bet the Washington Commanders to win the Super Bowl? Teddy, if you have an answer on that, and also kind of a side note to that, do you handicap futures that way in terms of the same as like a game matchup handicap where you're actually looking at a number, say plus, 200 I would need? Or is this just something, because this is the way I do futures, and I'm not a huge futures bettor, Teddy. I just kind of circle a team I like and I go look for the best price. I'm not necessarily like, at 200 plus 200, I'm going to make the bet, but at plus 180, I'm not going to make the bet, something like that. It doesn't really function for me in my futures handicapping, but it might for you.
So first, a shout out to Michael Campbell, who's always, he's always in the chat and always tweeting. I really appreciate him. Very much so. So happy Monday, Michael. Even though this wasn't your question. When it comes to the future book, I'm with you 100%, Drew. Okay. It's not like if the Commanders were at 500 to 1, there's an overlay. Okay. But that doesn't make it a great bet because they're not going to win the Super Bowl next year. So when I'm making a future book wager, okay, it's about what teams could be live that I can find the good wager for, that I can find the odds I'm looking for. So if you give me the Panthers at 200 to 1 or at 2,000 to 1, I'm not all that interested because Carolina's not going to be there next year. One wouldn't think, a lot of issues with Rule and company. The Lions aren't going to be there. So whatever price you give me, you might find me some big plus price on these teams. It's not something I'm looking to bet. What I would much rather do is absolutely your strategy, Drew. You sit down and if I'm going through the future board, all right, for any sport, my concept is live, not live, not live. And as you're going through the live teams, wow, this team's live and they're 40 to 1. Hey, let's see what kind of price I can find on this team if I shop around. Wow, they're 50 to 1 over there. Yeah, that's a bet. But the concept before I'm even looking at the prices is, are they in a best case scenario, could they win a Super Bowl next year? And I don't see that for the Washington. The best case scenario next year, they make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you, Teddy. Good to hear, guys. Thanks for thanks for all the shout outs in the chat box. Anybody out there with any questions, feel free to fire away. Off-season NFL opening line report. So we're going a little bit off the grid here, outside of the NFL. Going to hit on some topics, but Teddy, you bring up Las Vegas. You were out on the town. One, how is Las Vegas right now? And two, I want to state something because we were talking about drinking. When I lived in Las Vegas for the 2 years, I found myself not drinking as much in Vegas because there was so much else to do, not only the sports books and watching games, but just gambling in itself and watching from casino to casino. Now, some of it might have to do with like price point. You're having to pay more to drink at a bar in Las Vegas than say Costa Rica or like Auburn, Alabama. So that might be part of it. But also I've heard other people say that as well. Living in Las Vegas, it actually made me not want to drink as much, but interested in your thoughts on that. And how is the city looking this weekend, man?
So, I was your tip. I'm going to say an atypical drinker. I used to, imbibe on occasion, when I was in, and then when I graduated Michigan and I started working at a sports bar, and then I was managing the sports bar and I was there every night. And that's when I stopped drinking. Number one, it didn't agree with me. And number two was that seeing everyone drunk every night, you're like, okay, it's kind of fun, but it's not that fun. So when you're in Vegas and you see everyone drunk every night, there's not the same urge. Oh yeah, let's join them. Necessarily, at least for me. Working with drunk, with the clients who were drunk every night helped me drink less. Made me less likely to do it. But in terms of, is there enough to do in town? There's how many towns is there more to do in Las Vegas?
Right.
You can do it sober, you can do it drunk. It doesn't matter. There's plenty of people do all kinds of stuff drunk in town. So it's not like you can't do it if you're if you've been drinking. You can still gamble when you're drinking. You just tend to end up with less money. And of all the things, look, if you're coming to Vegas, I'll say this as clearly as I can. Separate your party nights from your gambling nights, okay?
Yes.
All right, tonight's party night. All right, good. Yeah, we're going to go to the club. We're going to go drink. We're going to go have fun, da-da-da. Those aren't the nights where you gamble. You want to go gambling? Sure, tonight's gambling night, or it's gambling afternoon, or whatever it is. That's when you go play. Don't mix the two. If you're partying and gambling, you lose. Period.
Yes.
Don't know a whole lot
Great
of there.
point.
I mean, there are exceptions to the rule, but they're few and far between. You're taking your chances of walking away with profit and minimizing them. And again, I'm hanging out with my buddies from Michigan, and they're all, price conscious. That's a Michigan mentality that you miss out here on the left coast. But everyone's, oh my God, it's $17 for a Bloody Mary. They're going crazy, Oh, you can't go on the strip. So we ended up hanging out downtown a lot. Which is, for if you're looking, from a price point, downtown's cheaper than the strip, a lot cheaper than the strip. The strip's really gotten expensive the last few years. I mean, the last few decades. You talked about the price points in the casino bars. That's the tip of the iceberg. When you talk about, when you talk about $12 Budweisers versus $4 Budweisers, and it makes a difference on how much you're going to drink that night sometimes.
Oh, absolutely, Teddy. Yeah, it does get a little bit ridiculous. And there's also a reason why they give you free drinks when you're gambling, because they want those two to mix. So remember what Teddy said about separating the gambling nights from the drinking nights. Teddy, got a question here. The Juwan Howard situation. Guys, got about 5 topics going to hit. And again, feel free to ask any questions here in the chat box on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. This is the opening line report, 10 a.m. Pacific time each and every Monday. Teddy covers, Drew Martin breaking it down. Juwan Howard, Teddy, you're a Michigan guy. Guys, if you haven't seen it yet, there was an incident between the Wisconsin coach and assistant coach and Juwan Howard, and then players got involved afterwards. Teddy, I'll throw it over to you, man. Obviously, you're in tune to what's going on there. Juwan Howard's situation, what are your overall thoughts? What do you think happens here?
So let me start with this. Juwan Howard's the only head coach that I know. Okay, I don't know him well. When I was back in Ann Arbor, I used to know him. I knew him well enough that when I saw him at a Wizards game a couple years later and said hi to him, he remembered me. Juwan Howard is the nicest guy in the world. I have nothing but respect for that man. As an 18-year-old, he was the leader of the Fab Five. He was the most mature. He was clearly the one who was going to be a head coach someday. And he went through all that time in Miami, sitting on the bench, the oldest player in the league, earning his chops to get the Michigan job. And at Michigan, he's done nothing but good things with that program. All right, not easy to take over for Bayline. Bayline's a good coach. Couple of trips to a national title, the title game under Bayline. It's not an easy place to walk into. So, ton of respect for Juwan as a human being and as a head coach. But what he did on Saturday, you're not going to get away with that. You can't lose that moment where that fist came forward at Greg Gard, at the Wisconsin head coach. I understand you're mad that he called the timeout with a 17-point lead and you want the game to be over. I understand that, but can't do that. And Juwan knows. I'm sure he feels terrible about it now. Although at the press conference, he was still hot afterwards. Good to see the rivalries in the Big Ten continuing to have some steam. But Juwan Howard, who I respect as much as anybody, he did wrong, and he's. I'm sure there'll be significant consequences. I don't know if it's job-losing consequences. I hope not. But you can't do that, and I'm sure he knows. He knows. He's a mature man.
Okay. And yeah, Mike and Brent in the chat box, they're saying he should lose his job. Teddy, I look at watching it a bunch of times. To tell you the truth, Greg Gard kind of started the altercation in terms of stopping him in the line. Up to that point, guys, you got to think about it. It's a blowout. Now, granted, Michigan's pressing and Wisconsin calls the timeout to deal with the press, I feel. So I don't really agree with Juwan Howard getting upset about that. You shouldn't be pressing. It's one of those things in college, major college sports and professional sports. If the game's over, fine. Run the ISO, run that type of offense, just run it down the throat and have the game end. Don't sit there and try to, I'm using a football analogy here, but don't try to press on defense here in basketball and try to turn your opponent over and then get mad at them for calling a timeout to kind of deal with what you're doing here. So I don't agree with how Juwan Howard kind of handled the end of the game. But I will say this, I think a guard kind of went out of the way, stopped him. He shouldn't have done that. I think he should be suspended one game. This might be, kind of a minority take here, guys. I feel like some people might disagree here. I think the assistant coach on Wisconsin that came over and kind of antagonized this situation, he should be suspended the rest of the regular season. And I feel like Juwan Howard should, yes, you can't be a Big Ten head coach and act that way. No matter what's said, no matter what happens, Teddy, he needs to be suspended, in my opinion, for the rest of the regular season. Come back for the Big Ten conference tournament there. Try to make a bid here into the March Madness. But I don't think he should lose his job, Teddy. I don't think there was enough there for him to lose his job. But I do think he should be suspended for the rest of the regular season, because no matter who you are, no matter what happens, you're the leader of 18 to 23-year-old men, and you can't resort to that type of thing, in a situation like that. So that's my feeling on it.
So I'm with you on how long the suspension is. I don't care, whether it's a game, whether it's 3 games, whether it's 5 games. That's not my issue. The issue is, should Juwan lose his job over it? And I'm with you. Okay. But this is the broader issue. Everyone, okay, yes, when you're a head coach, you're the representative of the university, and you're held to a higher standard, just like you and I are held to a higher standard on air than some guy that's going to, that doesn't have a website behind them, not worried about WagerTalk or Sports Memo. And, we have a little bit of a higher standard. Absolutely. I get that. We can't say stupid stuff. We can't make up records, or whatever else wants to be done. And it should be that way. But to expect perfect behavior from anybody on this earth ain't going to happen. Okay, we all make mistakes. We all do stupid shit. We all do something that we regret later. And it doesn't change. Okay, it happens when you're 18. Oh, man, I can't believe what I did. It happens when you're 35. Oh, man, it happens when you're 55. It's not like it changes over the course of time where you're like, oh, no, now I'm perfect. You're always making mistakes. We're always making mistakes. We're all human. And in my opinion, the whole pile on the guy who did something because he's on TV, and we all saw it, is a little bit much. I don't think Juwan Howard should lose his job over it.
No. Okay. Good to know we're on the same page there, Teddy. We got Paul in the house from Essex, England. He's saying it's sad we don't have any NFL right now, but Paul, hey, one thing we're probably going to be talking about here is the USFL. Guys, if you forgot about it, a new football league starting in early April, mid-April anyway, and the draft is Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, Teddy. So we got a new football league drafting here, 8-team league. All the games are going to be played in Birmingham, Alabama, I believe. And hey, we're getting after it, man. A sport. I'm sure there's going to be lines out there, Teddy. What kind of angles are you looking to get after here? Of course, just to throw this out there, I know you remember this when the XFL was going, that new league, the unders in week 1, week 2 were like really money. I don't know if you remember that. Is that something you're going to look to do here in the USFL? And like, what angles for a new league here?
So you're looking to play week 1 unders, flat out.
Yeah.
Okay. You're looking for combinations of players who are familiar with one another. That's going to give them an edge. All right. You have a QB with any kind of coordinator that he's familiar with, a QB with any receivers that he's familiar with, a QB with an offense that he's comfortable running, a QB with a line, any of that stuff is going to give teams an edge. So when I'm going to be perusing through the info as we lead up to week 1, the type of quotes that I'm looking for, the type of info that I'm looking for is, hey, I'm comfortable in this offense. Hey, we're feeling good in this offense. Hey, our defensive schemes are right where we want them to be. Hey, I know coordinator so-and-so schemes from our time together in wherever, and we're on the same page. Those are the type of quotes I'm looking for right from the get-go in the USFL. And if we find info like that, we'll be in action in week 1.
I like it, Teddy. And how do you think this league is going to do, man, overall? I kind of think it has a shot here. I have felt that way about football in the past, like a minor league in the offseason of the NFL could actually do very well, kind of just business-wise. Do you think that this could actually happen and do well, and this is something that we have going forward?
Okay, stop. How many different spring football leagues have we seen in Las Vegas over the last 25 years, and how many of them have worked? The answer is a bunch and none. So, even arena football, which I loved.
That was
They lost the
awesome.
season on a strike. They couldn't make money. It didn't. It was everybody lost money in arena league who invested. Didn't pan out, and it was a good product with a TV deal and all of that. So, experience has shown us to take these leagues as let's hope it gets through this season type of deal. Didn't the one league cancel after 3 weeks or something? A month into the year.
Yeah.
It didn't even make it through the season. So, I'm not making future book wagers in the USFL. It's one of those deals where we'll take it a week at a time. We'll enjoy it a week at a time. But do I expect the league to blow up and everyone to be thrilled and the ratings to be through the roof and they say, yes, we're definitely going to come back and this is our new spring football league? I've seen too many fail and none of them succeed, Drew. None of them have succeeded. So I'm not going to bet on this one, regardless of how much better it is than the other ones, with all the games in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, that's interesting that they did that. I guess it will save on travel costs, start, talking from a business perspective, maybe learning from the mistakes that others have made. Maybe that's one thing they're trying to do here is save on all that travel cost, the living expenses as well. It looks like all the active rosters. Also, if you noticed, because they're paying all the active rosters, it looks like $4,500 a week, Teddy. That's $4,500, not a month, a week. So it's not bad there. I mean, the living expenses in Birmingham, Alabama aren't going to be, like the Northeast in New York, something like that, Teddy. So in terms of having a good job, the players are probably going to be very happy to be there rather than sitting on their couch not having a job. Keep in mind, none of these guys are on an active NFL roster, Teddy. So I think they're learning what they're doing. And I think there has been some good products. One of the failures was due to COVID-19. I mean, the XFL, money-wise, I know it didn't make it, but that was a pretty exciting product. Throwing the ball out there for the coin toss and the two guys run after it. That was exciting stuff.
Yeah, but it didn't catch on. It didn't. I mean, I'm not saying that it's a bad product. Look, we love football. Okay, how about football all year round if I can? I got no problem with spring football leagues, but I've just seen them all fail. There's not like one that worked. So it's hard for me to get too enthusiastic about. It's kind of like when we've been in this business 25 years, Drew. I have. You've been in it for a decade plus now. And I'm sure you get calls, oh, we got this no show or this new website, this new whatever. It's going to be great. You can't imagine. We got the SEO. We got this guy's from Harvard and this guy's got 14 years of business experience in this space. And everyone thinks they know either the space for the sports betting shows or for sports betting websites. And I get those calls. I mean, I've gotten them consistently for 25 years, and everyone that moves into the space fails if they don't know it. Every one of them. They all fail. Oh, we know it. We've got this guy from this other industry. He's really good at this other industry. And now we brought him into sports betting, so it's going to be huge. They fail. They all fail. Hope springs eternal, but the reality is that the whether it's the football leagues that last, or whether it's the websites that last, or whether it's the sports betting shows that last, there's some substance behind them, and we haven't seen that with any of these leagues. They're all just come and go. If you name the biggest star from any of the spring football leagues over the last 25 years, you're coming up with freaking He Hate Me from 2000. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
That was awesome.
Who everyone still remembers. And he's the only breakout star from any of these leagues. They need a Joe Namath. They need someone who's a breakout star. And He Hate Me is the only guy that's done that. Whose first name and last name I don't even remember. And he played in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't even remember his real name, but that was one of the best.
I got nothing on him except for He Hate Me. And he caught on, man.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Google it.
No,
if you don't know
good
what we're
stuff,
talking
Teddy.
about.
Absolutely. And the reason I brought up the $4,500 a week was, one, because from a business wise it might work, but also because one thing I noticed in looking for angles to bet, the roster size is a lot smaller, Teddy. In college football, major college football, a lot of times, they'll dress out 99, 100 guys, fill up every number they can. In the NFL, it's 53. This, I believe, is going to be like 40. 45. That we're going to get guys playing like, you're going to play on defense and run down on kickoff and punt. Maybe guys playing both ways. I think that might be an interesting angle where like one player might take over more, Teddy.
Sure. And certainly when you talk about not for week 1, but week 3 and week 5, when you have a 40-man roster and you get injured,
yeah,
those teams going to be real bad real fast. So the teams that face significant injury concerns early are going to be teams that may well be easy to bet against. Because remember, in a new league, how it's going to work is the teams that stay relatively healthy, they're going to get better over the first month of the season. But the teams that don't stay healthy, and you have new players coming in and not having any experience in these systems, one would anticipate those teams are not going to get better over the first month of the campaign, and they may well be easy bet against.
Teddy, we got Coin helping us out in the chat box saying Rod Smart is He Hate Me's name. So, hey, thanks for
very good. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And it was Rod Smart. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Teddy, one more thing here, and guys, feel free to show out anything in the chat box here before we shut it down. We'll hit any questions. All right, guys, this weekend, got to kind of clarify this before asking Teddy, and feel free to let us know in the chat box how you feel. Teddy was on an absolute heater in college basketball, still is. He was 12-0. I'm doing my work here on WagerTalk, and I see him at the top of the charts. He's whatever it is, 12-0 in college basketball. He's 7-0 the last 3 days. I'm like, oh, that's my boy, Teddy. I send him a text like, congrats, Teddy. That's awesome. And sure enough, he sends back the text, oh, thanks, but now I'm going to go 0-4 or something of that nature. And I think to myself, because sometimes, Teddy, I do this, and I'm like, all right, I'll text him after, the night of games, but I forget to do it. So now in life, I've kind of started, hey, when I'm going to do something, I'm going to just do it now. So I didn't think about that part of it. I will say this, you ended up winning your 5% I saw, so that's good, your big play.
Yes.
You did lose a couple, so the 12-0 streak ended. My question to you, in this visit, can you text your friend? Is that kind of against the unwritten rules, or is that allowed, guys?
So it really is an interesting question. Okay. And I'm someone that, look, like when I'm winning, I don't want to do anything differently from the day before. I don't want anyone noticing me and saying, hey, Teddy, you're on fire. You're doing great. Just let me shut up and keep doing what I'm doing. And one thing that I'm proud of, whatever. When I get a hot streak going, sometimes I can keep them going for a long time, and that's when you make a bunch of money. That's when you make all your money for the year. You ride a 3-week hot streak, a month-long hot streak, you make a bunch of money during these spans. So when I get one going, you just want to, it's blinders. Just let me do the same thing that I did yesterday, the same, and I try to handicap that way anyway. Now for a Saturday card, all right, I'm not one that's going to put out 15 games. Okay, it's just not what I do. It's not what I've ever done. So you're going to go through the short list and make cuts. And you know how it is, Drew. As you're making the cuts, you're like, oh, I know this one's no good. Oh, this one looks, you're yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. The short list, it's sitting over here. It's, it's all these games you can see. I don't know if you can see or not, but it doesn't matter. I got all these games, and I'm running that X and check and this and that, and I'm making my little symbols on them. And you end up with, I got, whatever, 16 or 18 games that I'm debating as to how many of them I'm actually going to play. And then you're trying, all right, this is a good one, this is the bad one. And how well I am at taking my short list and turning that into client plays is how well I'm going to do, because I make the short list every night. I do the same thing the same way every single day. And they're like, oh, what a cool job. You're supposed to. No, it's kind of boring sometimes because I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, but the point is this. Yeah, you can send that text, dude. You can say it's just me trying not to think about it. When you're winning, you don't want to think about it. You don't want anyone to remind you of it. You're just trying to keep your blinders on and do what you do. And unfortunately, on Saturday over the weekend, in general, as you mentioned, I won the 5%. The 5%'s been real good too. 70% since May on my strongest plays. That's an accomplishment that I'm proud of. Anytime you hit 70% over an extended span, you're doing something right. But it's one of these stories where we're glad that the 5% came home, and I'm a little bit frustrated with the rest of my weekend. More than a little bit frustrated. I didn't do a whole lot right, other than the big ticket winner, and I left a whole bunch of winners on the table, which didn't make me happy.
Hey,
So yeah,
still
you
on
can
a
send it.
16-5 college basketball run, man. It's not all that bad. Guys, check him out. It's $9 Monday, WagerTalk.com. Teddy Covers got up his top play, ESPN Moneymaker. I got a play up too in college basketball and a pretty good run as well. So, guys, check out Teddy Covers, Drew Martin, WagerTalk.com. We're up against it time-wise. We do have Drew Skull in the chat box. Thanks for joining us, Drew. You guys should do an opening line report on March Madness. That would be awesome. Teddy, the Monday after Selection Sunday, I think that should be dedicated towards opening line report March Madness.
100%. Yeah, conceptually, okay, this is the opening line report. So whenever there's an interesting opening lines to talk about, we're going to talk about them. We'll talk about it for March Madness as soon as we see NFL season win total. And I'm expecting we'll see NFL season win totals relatively soon. Oftentimes they're out already. I haven't seen one yet. But we'll have them to talk about, whatever we got openers.
College football
that are legit openers. I'm sorry?
Yeah.
USF.
College football season win totals as well.
Yeah, whatever we see, that's going to be the headline discussion for the opening line report on Monday. When it comes to as lines pop, we'll talk about them. And most assuredly, the Monday of March Madness, that will be our focus. Don't you worry about it. I promise.
Yeah. Good question, though, Drew. Good idea. Teddy, time for one more here. We'll hit the DraftKings thing next week. And guys, feel free to chime in with any questions below if you're watching on replay in the reply section on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Also, please smash the like button if you're liking the content. Teddy, should the NFL, should the NBA after last night? Hey, some people liking it. We were just talking with Dan and Joe behind the scenes producing the show. They thought it was great, watching that. I don't know. I watched it for about 10 minutes, just the lack of defense. It didn't catch me. Now, granted, I'm not a day in, day out NBA bet or anything like that. I do think the NFL should cancel the Pro Bowl. I can't even watch that anymore. But do you think the NBA, NFL, all the sports leagues, how do you feel about all-star games, man?
So I'd rather watch an all-star game than watch 46 guys go down the same bobsled run over and over again. Beats the hell out of the Olympics.
Okay, yeah.
The whole thing
I don't watch the Olympics.
The whole thing of watching the Olympics, like I can make it through one. Okay, one bobsled run where the guy's just sitting there, and going really fast and not really doing anything. But I can't watch 10 of them. I can probably watch one speed skating or figure skating or snow jumping. I just can't watch 50 of them. The All-Star game's fine. Look, the All-Star game is about giving the player some reward for having a magical season. As much as, it is about making money. Hey, you have a great season. Go, hey, you're an all-star, buddy. The last all-star game I watched, take the over. I don't remember the last time I watched an all-star game. It's got to be like the 90s, in any sport.
I don't watch the MLB one either? Major League Baseball one?
Dude, we work every single day all year long, okay? Saturdays, Sundays, holidays, Christmas, New Year. The MLB All-Star break, I don't work those 3 days. Dude.
Yeah, you can.
I don't. I take those 3, I flat out off. Sunday, I usually don't watch the Sunday games either. Even if I'm in action. That's the only legitimate break that we get. Every other break we have to take. No, I don't watch the MLB All-Star game. It's but MLB All-Star game is dreadfully boring, dude. It's strikeout, foul ball. You have like one ball hits contact. Every great pitcher is in there, and it's like home run. The two guys hit home runs, and whether they have men on base, that's who wins the game or not. No, I don't watch the baseball also.
All right, fair enough. I liked it more when it actually counted. I thought that was pretty cool. But hey, we got Holland.
You were the only one
in the chat box. Yeah, I know. I know I was in the minority on that one. Hey, last one here, real quick. Thoughts on baseball? Supposedly, if they don't get the deal done this week, opening day is going to be suspended here, Teddy. This is not good, for our business, for really baseball going forward. But what are your thoughts here? Do they get it done?
I'll just say this. It's bad. It's bad. I do not expect opening day. Will we see baseball in 2022 is the question to ask.
Oh, geez.
Will there be a game played this season is the question to ask. That's your bet. Not will the season on time. Will the season start on time? No is minus 10,000. Okay, the season's not starting on time.
Gosh.
Okay, zero chance. Look, understand what's going on here, okay? The billionaire owners have locked the players who actually have talent and have done something for their money. Okay, they've locked them out. They said to the public, we're locking the players out because we want to jumpstart negotiation. And then they spent 43 days before they actually sent the players anything to negotiate, and then didn't follow up. Once the players countered, they waited another however long to follow up. There's no urgency from the owners whatsoever. The 60-game regular season followed by the extra playoffs in the COVID year in 2020.
That's the best.
Owners aren't making any money
in
the regular season. They're not making money in the regular season. They're all about expanding the postseason and getting the TV deals. And it's not about the regular season. And let's shorten the regular season. And let's forget the regular season. And these players are making too much money. And let's break the union. It's not cool what the billionaires are doing to the people that actually have talent. And I understand you don't want to pay the $400 million salaries. I get it. You know, that is a much. Do you want to do that? Put in a freaking salary cap like baseball, like football has, or basketball has, and you'll solve the problem. And don't let the franchises like the Dodgers and Yankees outspend everyone else and make the sport competitive like it is, again, in the NBA or the NHL or the NFL. But baseball's always done things differently. They continue to do things differently. I'm very negative about what the owners are doing, and I'm very negative about what baseball looks like right now. No positive thoughts on this end. And it sucks because it literally is billionaires trying to starve out millionaires, and it's so frustrating. It's like, dude, enough with the owners. Let the cities own the teams, but it doesn't work that way. It's too big now for that to happen. So we have to deal with billionaires trying to get richer.
All right, I'm going to start doing my off-season prep for the Mexican Baseball League, Teddy, and that was tough to hear, man. I was hoping we would get opening day on time, but hey, more on the MLB. We'll talk about this, guys, more next week. And we got Jeff saying you can ask a question during the replay. You can do that? Yes, actually, Jeff, you can. Just ask below in the reply section on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, and we'll answer your question next week. So that's the way to do it, guys. If you're watching on replay, please smash that like button. Teddy, throw it over to you. We got the college basketball show coming up, guys, on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. But final thoughts before we shut it down.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. So in the YouTube chat, Drew and I both get in there every week. We both get in there and answer any questions you have. So we love to answer the questions live, but we can do that. We have time to do that this time of the year. And of course, if you go into YouTube and watch it on replay, anything, comments, whatever comment you have, I try to answer every one, at least earlier in the week. So feel free. And of course, if you watch it live, we can answer your question live on it. So appreciate all the follows, guys. Appreciate all the kind words about the show. And that'll wrap it for today. Drew, take us home.
Yeah, guys, please smash that like button. Best of luck out there. We'll be back next Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Best of luck until then.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com, and all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.